Hello everyone, welcome to the Selkares Wargaming channel, to the second tutorial video on Wargame Island Battle. On this video I'm going to focus on the deployment phase and on the first steps into a game. So, first of all I'm going to talk about the deployment phase. I'm going to try to show you a balanced deployment army that will allow you to react to most basic situations. But of course, the deployment of your army really depends on your playstyle. So you've got three major things that influence your deployment phase. First, of course, your playstyle, depending if you want to have a balanced force, an offensive force with a lot of tanks and recons, a defensive force with, of course, infantry, ATGMs, and anti-air units, or if you want to make a cheese strategy like we see in 1v1 games, in ranked games, like a full-on napalm run, a full-on helicopter strike, or things in the same vein. So deployment really depends on your strategy. But it also depends on a second very important factor, is the map on which you are playing. Maps vary a lot from one another. This map, Highway to Oslo, is quite balanced. You've got forests on the left, cities on the spawn sectors, and a big plain and open terrain on the right side here. Which means you've got tank and vehicle battles here, infantry in the cities over here, infantry and some light vehicles on the area on the left side. Of course, other maps, like the Allison map, are much more focused on infantry combat with a lot of cities, so your initial deployment will be much more focused on infantry. So, personal strategy and type of maps play a lot on the deployment phase. The third and last, in my opinion, factor that plays on the deployment phase is the type of game you are playing. 1v1 ranked, or just a 3v3 versus random players. A 1v1 ranked match often results in cheese or lane tactics, meaning a huge air strike, a big helicopter rush, a big vehicle rush. So, of course, the more you're going to play, the more you're going to discover these strategies and learn how to counter them. So you will learn to make deployments depend on the enemy if you know them, or gamble on the strategy the enemy will play. Of course, ranked match are all about gambling, in my opinion, especially against cheese players, because you don't really know what they're gonna do. So you're gonna prepare against an air rush, but you're gonna get a ground rush. So it's all about throwing a dice. If you start with the right deployment, you're gonna slaughter him. If not, you're gonna be in a really big problem. Some say the good strategy is to send a couple of units to see what he's doing and then calling units, but that's also quite risky since you won't be able to capture sectors and take position early in the game. So that's it. Your personal strategy, the map, and the type of game. Of course, a team game will allow you to make a much more balanced army because cheese strategies aren't that often in public games, and balanced deployments or specialized deployments if you play different roles with complementary decks with your friends. For instance, if you've got one friend making full tank attack, you can make full infantry, so you complement each other in a very good way. So in this video I'm just going to show you quite a balanced start and how to start the game after the launch battle button has been clicked. So first of all, the big controversy in the game is the FOB, Forward Operational Base. A lot of players say you mustn't use it, you mustn't even have it in your deck. I kind of agree, but even with that I still use it because, well, FOBs are quite useful for two reasons. If you are a heavy artillery player, be it sniping units or using a lot of smoke, it is quite useful to have an FOB here to resupply units, because the FOB is the most cost-efficient unit in terms of supply. 100 points for 10,000 supplies is the best cost-efficient unit in that role. The other reason to take it is for helicopters. If you use a lot of helicopters with ATGMs and rockets, it's quite easy to pull them back, resupply at the FOB, and go back to the front line to attack. So that's why I really like the FOB. But the reasons why not to take it are pretty damn good also. First, even if it's really cost efficient, it's still 100 points to spend at the beginning of the game. That's 1/10 of your total treasury at the beginning. It's really a big amount for a unit you're not really sure you're gonna use. Because, sure, I'm gonna use helicopters and artillery to resupply, but are you really? I mean, games are can be very different from one another. So are you sure you're going to recruit artillery? Are you sure you're going to recruit helicopters? Are you sure they're going to survive to need resupply? I mean, spending 100 points in the end game is ridiculous. You've got a huge amount of points at the end, but right at the start, it's a big loss for the units in the front line and may mean the difference against your opponent. 100 points for him over you can mean he'll be able to take Echo and then more income for the rest of the game. And the second thing is that, sure, it's cost efficient, but it still takes one slot in the logistics tab in your deck, and it's one slot worth 10,000 liters of supply. And the problem is, any other slot of ground vehicles in logistics, so trucks, give you around from 12,000 to 16,000 supply. So one slot of trucks gives you much more supply than the FOB. So that's why logistic slots being quite expensive, taking trucks is sometimes, well, is generally better than taking FOBs. But hey, I think it because I use quite a lot of smoke in my game, so it's quite nice, and I think it's a bit of nostalgia from Wargame European Escalation, where I often had an FOB in team games. So, well, and I also play a lot of team games in Island Battle, so 100 points in team games where you have like 2,000 or 3,000 points for the team isn't that much. In 1v1 it's an all new story because it's 1/10 of your total deployment points. So now that I've talked about the FOB, let's start with the deployment. Of course you have to keep your starting sector because it allows a lot of income, ground reinforcement and air corridor. Defending the commander isn't that necessary in my opinion in Island Battle if you play it right, if you have recons on your side to spot enemy units. For example, you can pop a recon over here to go and put it over here to spot enemy choppers coming in on the left side. You can put a helicopter recon over here to make sure no one comes over here. I don't have those in my deck unfortunately, but I could still pop an infantry recon and make it walk right up the mountain. Then let's talk about units you want to send. So I want to go on Bravo, so I need some infantry. Infantry, I'm going to take a couple of heavy infantry. I could take some mass infantry but cheap infantry, and 180 GM infantry to pop tanks. I could also take 102 anti-air infantry called man pads, but I don't have them in this deck. French decks don't have those man pads. So I can replace them with other kind of support. So support, it's artillery and anti-air. Artillery, my personal opinion is don't take them at the start of the game. They are useless at the start. They won't deal any damage or very few, and they cost quite a lot. Just at the start of the game, purchase your units, take control of the ground, and after that, if you need artillery support or smoke support, call in artillery after that, but not at the start of the game. It's too damn expensive. So artillery later on. Anti-air, you need a combination of radar and non-radar anti-air. Radar being efficient against airplanes, so I can take 1 or 2. Let's say I take 2, Roland 2, and then anti-air against helicopters, I take 2 basic Roland. I could take also some AAA, or some SPAG, self-propelled anti-air gun, which is quite nice against a mass of helicopters, so I can take 2 of them. But that's maybe a lot of anti-air, so I'm just going to take 1 Roland out and take only 1 Roland 2 and probably replace it with one interceptor, so anti-air plane. Then I want to capture Bravo, so let's go with 1 VAB PC. Here we go. And then I want to defend a bit Charlie, so let's send maybe a tank over here to block everything here. Maybe not a heavy tank, maybe 2 or 3 light units over here, and 1 or 2 tanks over there, like this. Of course, you also need recon, so recon is over here. You need recon, so I haven't got enough points, so you need to send to sell another thing. Let's say I'm going to take these guys out. I'm going to take 1 small recon here, air recon, I'm going to put it here, and then I'm going to re-spend my points in my infantry, these points I have left, 3 infantry squads here. So that's it, we've got a pretty much balanced force. We've got recon over here, we've got recon over here. You could put more recon if you have points. If you really use your recon well, you don't really need that much recon, but it could be nice, like 1 more over here. Or you can wait a little to send more. Maybe sending 1 more recon is best, or you could Yeah, sell that. Put one recon here to go on the left side and retake some anti-air here. Not enough points. Well, one Roland 2 and one plane should be okay if you play well. 14 points left. I can call in some reservists, 2 of them to take the city with the legionnaires. So that's it at the start of the game. Let's launch. So now I'm going to speak about how to send your units into the sectors. You've got 2 commands you need, well, 3 commands you really need to know. First is the move fast command. First is the shift command to allow to stack orders. So for instance, let's say I want to send my recon infantry in this building here to see everything over there. So I send my chopper here, click on shift, which allows to give him a second order right after the first one. Click on U to unload, or click over here. You can see it's the U hotkey. And then the infantry will unload here, and then I can still press shift, sorry, and let's say pull back the helicopter over here so that it doesn't get killed stupidly by enemy anti-air. So the chopper will come here, drop this infantry squad and go back over here. Then the second order is the move fast order. So let's say I take this one here. Move fast is this one, is the F key. It's normally the M, but I changed it. And move fast over here tells units to take the road. So here it will go directly for the road, and once on the road it will go faster and go over here. As you can see the stats of units, you've got 1 speed, 95 kilometers per hour, and 1 road speed, which is always faster. As you can see here, it goes on the road and goes quicker. The third order, so taking the road is really important. So when you deploy your units, always deploy them near the road you want them to take to go to the area you want them to go to. This is the third hotkey you need to know, the change focus hotkey. As you can see here in the options, controls, you've got the change focus. I put it on caps lock. It is an order that allows you to change the focus of what you're selecting. So here I've got all my army. I'm going to send them, let's say, on Bravo here, because my commander is going there. Send everything on Bravo. Then I can click on change focus, and as you can see, I just select one unit, the VAB PC. So I select VAB PC, tell him to go here. Click one more time, well, press one more time the change focus thing. ML90, this one was going over here. One more change focus, Roland 2 over there. One more change focus, Roland maybe a bit avant-here over here. Then the light tanks, I send them over here. Then the heavy tanks or medium tanks, send them over there. This is the legionnaires over here. This is the VLRA, this is the ATGM and reservists, so I send them over here. So as you can see, it selects, goes through all the units one by one, well, group by group, regrouping all the same types of units. So it's really useful to send all units. You need to just make a move fast to the principal, to the major sector you want to capture, and then you allocate your units everywhere you want as quickly as possible. The only downside of this system is that same types of units go together, even if you don't want them to go to the same area. So once you've given your move order to all your groups, just select units one by one and send them to different areas. So let's say these guys are the reservists, so the infantry squads, they are going to go here. And the other one, where is it? Over here, is the ATGM, so I wanted to go in front to take out the tanks coming in. And then, using the shift key, just select everything, shift U to unload, and that will do nothing to the vehicles or the tanks, but the transports will come in, and when they arrive, they'll just unload, and the infantry will take control of the sector, just like here, or like here, you will see in a few seconds when the transports are stopping. They are stopping, unloading, and will take control of the sector. Here we go, sector control, sector control. So that's the most efficient way to deploy your units. And coming back to the shift key, you can see the Puma pirate here went over there, unloaded the infantry, and went back here. Of course, I didn't control the infantry because this is just a tutorial, but of course you need to control the infantry afterwards and send it to the building or the forest or anywhere you want to take possession. And here you go, here is the most efficient way to deploy your units. Of course, I had a plane, I could have sent it over here and make him do circles over here to be ready and intercept any enemy planes coming in for an early strike. So So that's it, folks, for the deployment phase, a balanced deployment phase, and a how to send your units in the front line as quickly as possible. Next video will come shortly and will be about the basic orders. So I already talked about the change focus and the shift key to stack orders. I'm going to speak a bit more about the move orders and the formations, the spread, the splits, and everything else. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.